Hello. So in this presentation, we will explain about our research proposal with the title Leaders Perceive Listening Skills and Employee Job Satisfaction. In the introduction, we want to talk about the central topic of the study. So leaders and then supervisors' messages to their employees are often considered to be more important than what employees try to convey to their supervisors. But this imbalance of communication, how this imbalance can affect employees' well-being is not well known, and this lack of understanding constitutes the main problem that this study seeks to tackle with. And despite the merits of previous studies on the topic, there are still some major gaps. Firstly, previous studies only consider employees' perception and neglect how leaders perceive their own listening abilities, while the latter is easier to assess in practice. And secondly, the number and scope of previous studies on the topic are very limited, which makes it hard to draw any firm conclusions. So this research will have substantial benefits for leadership researchers as well as employees, leaders, and organizations because job satisfaction is known to affect employee turnover and organizational performance. So there are a lot of things at the stake. So the purpose of the study, this survey study, can be stated as to test the effect of perceived leader listening skills on job satisfaction for employees from different professions in Canada. So the objectives of this study can be put into two main categories. First, the general study objectives is to promote understanding about the importance of leader communication skills and behavior and employee well-being and the consequent success of organizations. And the specific study objectives include to show whether perceived leader listening skills can predict employee job satisfaction and to determine the extent and strength of the possible relation between leader listening skills and job satisfaction. The research has two main questions, including does the employee perception of their leaders' listening skills actually affect their job satisfaction? Or does the leader's perception of their own listening skills affect employee job satisfaction? In case, for any reason, we cannot answer these two questions, we have two alternative questions, which are, is there a relation between leader perception of their own listening skills and their actual listening skills? And is there a relation between employee perception of leader listening skills and the leader's actual listening skills? So in order to explain our methodology, we'll first start by our population and sample. The population of the study includes Canadian employees from different professions, and the sample consists of employees from 15 different Canadian organizations from 3 different cities, namely Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. Therefore, the sampling design is multi-stage clustering. And to answer the research questions, this study will use quantitative data obtained on site using survey questionnaires because it will provide us with sufficient data to test the relationship between the independent and the dependent variables of the study. Therefore, the kind of data used is testimonials using survey, and employees and supervisors will be asked questions about leaders' perceived listening skills to which they can answer using a numerical scale, and we will use the quantitative results in the data analysis. So this study uses regression analysis to test the effect of independent variables, which are leaders' perceptive listening skills, on the dependent variable, which is employee job satisfaction. This method of analysis is very powerful for showing relations between variables and can show how strong this relation can be. And it has been previously used by a number of previous studies. For example, Setin and his colleagues used this method to test a number of the effect of some leadership characteristics on the employee job satisfaction. And the table below below this slide depicts the results of their study and their use of regression analysis. So to validate the results, we will use data splitting validation method because our sample is large enough to split the data into two reasonable parts. The first part will be used to perform the regression analysis, and the second part will be used to test the accuracy of the predictions. We will use the frequentist approach mainly because we do not want to use prior data or previous observations. Our study relies exclusively on the data collected during the data collection phase, and the frequentist approach is satisfactory and sufficient to address the research question. Thank you so much for your attention to this presentation.